Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session, Reducing Salesforce Turnover in a Post-COVID-19 World. I've got a bit of a confession to make. I'm not really here. This is a pre-recording, as I'm sure you've probably gathered by now, but the good news is you're here not just for me, but for the star of the event, Steve Hall. I'll be introducing him to you shortly. So, confession that I'm making is I'm about to be a dad. So my wife started contractions not too long ago. We have a C-section scheduled on Tuesday, well, Monday, Tuesday. These things sort of go on for a while. So yeah, to make things a little bit easier for us, we figured it would be best to do a pre-recording. But super excited and a big moment and a big change about to happen in my life. So anyway, less about me. So apologies for not being able to make it, but I'd like to do a bit of an introduction. So firstly, I'd like to welcome all of you to the session. Thank you for joining us. Today's a really important topic and one I'm sure that resonates with a lot of people on this call today. So firstly, I'd like to go over some of the topics that we'll be covering today. We'll do a bit of an introduction to myself and to Steve Hall, the star of the show. We're going to be looking at what is the Great Resignation and why is it occurring? What is the consequence of mass resignations for both employers and employees? And what strategies can we implement as employees and employers? It's not just about the employers, but employees need to make strategic decisions based on, should they leave the company? Should they look at maybe some sort of internal promotion instead of leaving to get a better setup or whatever it may be, right? We'll then cover a bit of a wrap up and we'll offer a Q&A. And just so everyone knows, we'll do a Q&A is sort of open 24/7. So we've got a number of polls that we'd like to run. So I'll leave that up to Steve Hall and in terms of how he'd like to run that. So excuse me, my best guess would be he will run with that throughout the session. There's 3 polls, and I believe they're quite critical to getting some of those conversations going. But at any time, put any question you have in the question box, and I'm sure Steve will get to it when he gets a spare moment. Okay. So introducing me, some of you know me already. I'm the co-founder of Cowan Prospecting. I've got 18 years of sales enablement exposure. This is my bread and butter. I've been doing this, I'd say, since I was 10 years old. I used to make prank phone calls and have fun, and then I turned it into a bit of a business. But on a serious note, I've worked for many large technological companies over about 15, 18 years. I forget how long it is exactly. Put all that knowledge together. I run a sales demand generation agency focusing on C-level execs for the technology sector, outsourced space over here in the Philippines. Been doing that for about 6 years now, heavily successful, which is good. I've put that knowledge into, I hope, some sort of use for others in the form of a couple of books. So if you're looking to make cold calls, I made 250,000 cold calls. This is what I learned. I believe that's still valid today, even though things are changing. The sales world is evolving away from cold calls. It's not cold calls, it's warm calls. It's do your research, get your intelligence done, and it won't be a cold call, right? Make it value-based to the person you're calling, make it about them. Anyway, that will at least get you started, right? So that's my story and how I got into it. Something else that probably is more relevant to sales leaders, business owners, and sales, I mean, it gets salespeople in general, finding and working with the right clients. How do you make sure, excuse me, that you work closely with the right type of clients so you don't waste your time onboarding a client that's going to be a burn on resources, and you bring a client on board that ticks all those boxes that makes your business grow and is successful and all that stuff, right? Helps you hit your number if you're a salesperson. So yeah, have a look at that. I'm giving 10 copies away to the first 10 people, and there's some of you on here going, oh, is he really giving 10 copies away? Because we haven't received our one from the last session yet. I had a bit of an issue. I had to bring a ghostwriter on board because we had some issues with the design team. So we're delayed by about 3 months. So I sincerely apologize for everyone that has not received their copy yet. Anyone that is on here that was on my last session, you would have received an email anyway, just confirming that you're one of the ones to get the free copy. I'll promise to make sure I get this to you ASAP. Okay, so just watch this space. I'm collecting addresses and I'm going to send that out. So please respond to those emails. And now the star of the show. Okay, Steve Hall. You're going to be listening to his expert of knowledge very soon, expertise of knowledge. But before we get started, I want to introduce the star of the show, Steve Hall. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show today, mate. Really looking forward to watching this later and seeing the engagement and excitement that you put into this. Steve is known as Australia's leading authority on C-level sales. He is an absolute star and has sold products and services worth over 100 million. That's just insane. He's done that over across 23 countries. He helps his clients to develop and implement sales strategies to sell more effectively at executive level. He writes and speaks on selling at C-level. That's the language he teaches you, right? Now, I know that Steve has some unique clients that he works with, so he is quite limited on his, timing and stuff like that. That just proves how in demand and how great he is and his knowledge behind what he's done. He's also the founding member of Sales Mastermind APAC, and was one of the top sales magazine 50 best keynote speakers in 2020. That's a great achievement, Steve. As a devil's advocate, Steve keeps it real and asks hard questions, and that gets results. And that's how I know Steve. He asks the right questions to get the results. 100% agree with you on that. He lives in Sydney with his lovely wife, Susan, and you can follow him on his LinkedIn, which I'm sure he will share to you shortly. Steve, really absolute pleasure to have you on this session today, mate. And yeah, I'm going to stop the slides now. Steve will bring those slides up again for the wrap up and the ending. So the ending, rather, the last slide with our contact details, so you can reach us. I'm going to go and check on my lovely wife to see how she's doing and make sure she's not contracting more painfully. And yeah, we'll keep you all updated. And next time I'll have a screaming baby behind me on my shoulder, and that'll be my little mascot for the company. Anyway, toodaloo everyone, and we will catch up soon. Over to you, Steve. I'll let you run the show. Thank you so much.